Well, hi. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Morning Coffee. Okay, here's a tip when you are deciding where you want to put a studio to be able to record a daily web-delivered show. Try to find a place that is not on a route where anytime that the weather is at all nice, it is completely inundated with loud motorcycles. I'm doing my best to try to find a window to record this show, and it is just loud mufflers one after another. Yeah, I get it. I grew up around motorcycles, and I understand how much fun they can be, but, help a brother out already, will you? Okay, so I'm Generation X. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. I was born in 1968, and I ran across something yesterday that in 2 weeks from yesterday, someone is having a birthday. Kurt Loder, you remember him? MTV News? Yeah, he's turning 80. 80. What am I supposed to do with that other than take a couple of ibuprofen for my back? That's about it. Man, it's 80. Kurt Loder, 80 years old. That is a hard one to believe. Today on the show, I want to bring you a short clip from the Circle of Trades podcast. There was a new episode that just dropped yesterday. And the reason that I'm doing this is because on this episode is a young man. His name is Luke Barrett. And Luke is a 2020 graduate from high school. And now he's a journeyman in HVAC. And he went through and got his journeyman's license and working for Travis Waldstein at Air Serv Heating and Air Conditioning. And the two of them had an opportunity to talk about the process. And I think it's a wonderful story of a young man who set himself up with a very bright future very early in life. And he's actually way ahead of where I was at that age. So I want to bring you a little bit of that show. Again, the latest episode of Circle of Trades. Also, do you or does someone you love need in-home care? Well, Home Care Advocacy Network helps you maintain your own privacy in your own space while still receiving care and support with a personalized touch. Aging in place can be critical for many people, and Home Care Advocacy Network can meet those needs with an understanding that assisted living is best at home. HCAN of Southwest Iowa brings the personal touch to care at home in Council Bluffs, Glenwood, Red Oak, Clarinda, all the surrounding communities. Visit hcan.com/Southwest Iowa to learn more. Have you been to my website, lushillsmedia.com? When you go there, take a look around, and not just for the content, but for the style of the webcast. It was designed by Sue Pitts from Just Sue Creative, and website design is just one of the services she offers. She also does search engine optimization. She can make sure that your site's going to appear higher on those search engines. Content creation, marketing, everything you need to take your company to the next level. Sue really has a passion for small businesses, helping them thrive in this digital world. So if you would like a free consultation, go to her website, justsuecreative.com, and click the button that says free consultation. It's just that easy. The AIM Institute is hosting Infotech 2025 coming up May 5th, and that 2 weeks from yesterday, along with Kurt Loder's birthday. It's going to be at the Luminarium in Omaha. Speakers have been announced, and the keynote speaker is Sam Sapp, the founder and CEO of Lockbaud in Kansas City. He will be talking about AI and the human imagination entering a new era of limitless potential. Again, it's all at the Luminarium, and you can find your tickets on Eventbrite. And we've been talking about it, that our local soccer team, the semi-pro soccer team, the CB Captains, they have a partnership with Emblem Sports as their exclusive provider of sportswear, equipment, and merchandise. And the schedules have been released. I say schedules because the Captains are playing in two different leagues. They are set, they'll be setting sail with the United Premier Soccer League opener on May 3rd. That is against Garwo United from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And then the Midwest Premier League season opener for the Captains coming up on May 9th. Now, both of those games will be at Lewis Central and Council Bluffs. I understand we'll get things going at 2 in the afternoon on May 3rd, and then it's a night game. May 9th, they'll be under the lights over there at Lewis Central. So follow CB Captains on social media to keep up to date with everything that is going on. All right, let's check in with the latest episode of Circle of Trades at Travis Waldstein and his latest journeyman, Luke Barrett.
Yeah. He finally finished with the apprenticeship program in December through HVAC through CU Authority, and he just passed your test. What, March 4th, right?
Yep, March 4th.
So he's one of our new journeymen. So that means he went from being the top of the bottom, and now he's kind of the bottom of the top. So so it depends on perspective. He's moving up the food chain a little bit per se, and now he has a card that says he knows something. Then we're going to actually teach him some real life management skills. So believe people.
Well, this is kind of an example of a lot of the things that you've talked about that going through the program, and I'm sure, Luke, that you have a bright future ahead of you because of the path that you've gotten on.
Yep. So I got real lucky and had an uncle in the field. He led me in the right direction from graduating, and say I'm here at 22 with a journeyman license.
Mm-hmm. So. That's huge. I mean, he's one of the stories that we're talking about that we've got in shop. We got several guys like it. You're probably one of the youngest. I have to say that you're probably one of the youngest.
I am the youngest at the shop.
Yeah.
Besides Carson.
Are you the youngest person at the shop?
The youngest on the heating and air side.
All right. So, but he has reached puberty, so as you can tell. So,
as proof with the facial hair, I got you.
Yeah. So talk about the process. I mean, it's a 4-year process, but talk about what it was like for you to go through that process.
I'll say with the way it's done here, I'll say first 2 years you're working as a helper, picking up everything you can. I'd say I had a pretty good teacher. I had my uncle teaching me everything. And then after about 2 years, I actually went out on my own. I learned enough to be able to do the job. So I was out there running my own crew. After the 2-year mark, that's when I started class. The class takes 2 years, but it's 4 years of schooling. Every 6 months, you do 1 year of school. So I just worked my way through that. The next 2 years going through classes, passed the apprenticeship. Then after that, it took me 3 times to pass the journeyman test, but passed it and I got it now. So hopefully I ain't got to do that one again.
Yeah. Well, and it was kind of a big deal just go through the process because, you're working during the day. And then, you've got one night a week that you're sitting through class, you got homework, correct?
Yep. And so they give you basically every week you go into class and then you get, I think it's 3 or 4 projects and a test for every week. So I could be working 52 hours, but by the end of the night Sunday, you got to have all that turned in and ready to go.
So, which is really good. So obviously with the classroom instruction and, but you're out doing it too. You're out seeing it, you're out doing it. Plus we're doing trainings in the shop here and talking about different stuff that we do. And like I said, and he's still got journeyman he's working under that, when he screw, listen, everybody makes mistakes. So, he's able to learn through the process. And now he's to a level to where he's, basically they say he's competent enough per se to, to be able to run the jobs independently. There's no issues, with doing that. So, it's actually, to me, it's really exciting that you have that opportunity. So, that days of that point. So, and you graduated from Glenwood. What year did you graduate?
Well, I graduated in 2020.
So which was COVID year, and if everybody remembers COVID year, you were basically done with high school in March that year, weren't you? Pretty much.
Got out about 4 months early, and then just kind of got thrown into the field after that.
Yeah. So and at that time too, it's kind of like going to college. You leave for college, you're an 18-year-old kid, and you get done with it, you're a 22-year-old adult. Isn't that kind of how that works?
Yeah. It's either be in debt or start making money right out.
Yeah, well, and do you have it? You don't have any college debt, do you?
Nope, I don't have. Yeah, not a single dollar went towards my education.
Yeah. He's got babies to pay for now.
Luckily enough here, at AirServe, Travis does pay for your apprenticeship, so you don't have to take the burden of paying for that yourself.
Mm-hmm. It's important. Like I said, I could name the list of the guys. I mean, we've got 8, 9 guys, and vast majority of them, I've got a couple exceptions, but the vast majority have been through, our apprenticeship program and for what it is. And, if you're running, and it's a registered program too through U.S. Department of Labor. So it's not just, hey, Travis Wallstein says, and this is what it is. This is actually, through the state of Iowa, U.S. Department of Labor. So we have to go through processes. If they have an issue, there's a grievance process. There's a Pitney scale that they have to adhere to. So I mean, it's not union per se, but I mean there is a structure to it. It's not just show up and 4 years from now you go show up to get a card to take a test. You actually have to pass the test as well.
Yep.
So
hardest part there, but
yeah, so
it's doable.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the test, and I don't care anybody. It's hard to pass that test the first time. Usually, it takes a couple times for guys to pass. I mean, that's unfortunately, you're going to learn a lot more, with your hands. But the book, unfortunately, they go by what you know in a book, not by what you know as far as up here, and that's, and sometimes, especially if you do a lot of install stuff, there's service stuff that you may not run into every day.
Yeah. So that was kind of my biggest kicker was, it's not what you actually physically know yourself. It's how well do I flip through these pages of this book and find what they want me to put down.
Mm-hmm. So what was probably your biggest takeaway from going through the program and doing work here from when you first got into this, being 18 years old, and your uncle tell you to show up and that you're going to basically be his grunt and pick up his tools and his lunch pail and all that other stuff. So what's probably your biggest takeaway in your time getting into this trade as far as what what you do, what was the biggest thing you got out of it?
Oh, well, when I was younger, I didn't think much went into heating and air. There wasn't a lot to it. It was a pretty simple trade. But, once I got into it, I found out really fast that is not true at all. Mm-hmm. There's so many little technical problems or issues you can have to make something not work, and you got to be the one to be able to figure out every single part of it to be able to make it run again.
So, but yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's more exciting than Todd's hair. Did you notice Todd's hair today?
What is the deal with?
I gotta make sure he's awake over there.
I'm awake. I'm just I own a brush. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. I just throw a hat on. It's a heck of a lot cheaper. So, obviously you've got your journeyman, and we got a lot of projects going on this summer. I always ask, where do you see yourself down there? And now that you've done this, kind of what's the next level thought process? I know you've mentioned a little bit about jumping more into the plumbing side, obviously. What do you kind of see as your next steps as far as, that now that you got this, now that you got your journeyman's license, what you think your next step might be for you then?
I'd say at this point, it's kind of just keep working. Later in life down the line, I do hope to own my own company at some point. That's kind of, I think we all shoot for that. But yeah, I'd say owning my own company would be great. That's kind of where I'm shooting for. Learn as much as I can now and take it with me and use it for myself eventually.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's, listen, and I've said this before, if you're not ultimately wanting to own your own business, you're crazy as you found, and if you work for me, you find out I share probably more information than most. And unfortunately, you get to kind of see the good and the bad, I mean, it's one of the deals you can kind of hold stuff close to the vest, or you can share, because if you're looking down that road, unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff with going into. It's not just knowing how to install furnaces and fix air conditioners. Unfortunately, I'd love for it to be that easy, but unfortunately, it's not always that way. So
there's a lot that goes into the backside, and you showing us, the numbers and that sort of stuff. I enjoy that just because it helps me look at, am I profitable? All that kind of stuff is what I'm doing actually, making us money. Is it, just that kind of stuff. It always feels good to see that, hey, I've made that for you this year, and Yeah, I don't know, just
Well,
that good heartwarming feeling.
it's part of the process is what it is, and to me that's huge. You have to be part of that process, and we give that opportunity. And we do the same thing on the plumbing side. Plumbing side is newer, obviously, but with the HVAC side of it definitely is. So how many boxes you built so far today?
I think we got 32 12 by 12 plenums built out there.
There you go. So there you go. So what are you gonna do? My signs for my shop? I mean, we gotta. We gotta do plasma table we're working with today. So the young guys know how to run all this plasma stuff, which is really cool. They can build some neat stuff, and we gotta get some bigger signs for in the shop here. So
Just gotta remember how to upsize everything. There's a lot of programming that goes into it. So I'm still trying to get 100% rounded on all that kind of stuff right now. So.
Travis, let me ask you something. With this process that you're going through here with Luke, and obviously you are encouraged when you hear him say that one day he wants to be able to run his own business.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so by that means that you really are in a perpetual state of running young men through a journeyman program. And is this a philosophy that you had from the beginning of your business, that you knew that this was the way to be the most effective and have the highest quality of employees by going through that process? Because there's some companies that they don't want that. They want to bring somebody in and they want to know that, hey, we trained you, so you're staying with us.
Yeah.
And
your job's a run duct or whatever. I know exactly where you're going. Here's what I tell you, and to be fair, Todd, when I got into this 37 years ago, my uncle got me into this. My uncle Rick down in Texas. At the time, I listened. I went to trade school. I went to North Iowa Area Community College in Mason City. And if you'd have talked to me probably for the first 10 years, it was the only way to go is with the trade school. And actually, one of my classmates, Jason Otson, instructor up there, he puts out a lot of good people through that program. So there are very good trade schools out there. But what I saw working down here is, on your own business, you want people that are vested in your company. And yeah, would I like them to stay forever? Yeah, I mean, if everything works. But you know what? If you to be vested, you have to have drive. Some people get in a comfort zone, but let's say in 5 years, if he decides he wants to open up a shop in Glenwood and wants to make his own destiny, I mean, would I hate to lose him? Absolutely. But I can't fault a guy for wanting to better himself and better his family. And does he become competition at that point? Yeah, technically he does, but there's enough work out there for everybody. To me, it's not a problem. And, I would rather have, if Luke's here and there in Glenwood 5 years from now, at least I know if I was bidding against him or up against him on a job, we're going to know that things are done correctly. You don't have to worry about things being done, cutting corners and doing stuff. And so, I think you're doing right with the industry, but by doing that, and I'm not going to be doing this forever. I mean, I'm 52 years old. I'm going to be doing it for a while, but at some point you have to give back. Some people give to charity. Some people, give back certain things. And I do a little bit of that too. But the biggest thing I can give is the time and resources and my knowledge. And if that person wants to go off and be his own boss or own leader, absolutely.
It is spring, and that means that spring sand volleyball is back. The Mile Away on Old Lincoln Highway in Council Bluffs, signing up your volleyball teams for the spring season. Cost is only $50 and then $8 per match. That's to make sure the refs get paid. Once there, you're going to find beautiful sand courts, an epic courtside beer hut, and the best atmosphere in town. The season starts next week already. Time is running out to get signed up. Good vibes, great competition, and cold drinks all season long. It's at the Mile Away on Old Lincoln Highway, north of Council Bluffs. Since 1870, Avela Bank has been providing Iowans with high-quality financial products and services to fit their needs. You might need a loan, maybe you're starting a new business account, need to save money for a trip, or you're looking to open a personal checking account. Avela's qualified bankers can help you with all of that and more. Visit avela.bank to learn more. And my friend Cindy Schmader from Service Master Restore by Schmader knows it can be hard to get back to normal when you've suffered serious property damage due to flooding, fire, or smoke. You may also be left with all sorts of questions about how to get your home or business back to normal. Service Master Restore by Schmader will restore your space by offering quality commercial and residential restoration services in Council Bluffs and the surrounding area. That's Service Master Restore by Schmader. Well, we have reached the end of another show on this Tuesday. It is Tuesday, right? Yeah, it is. See? Generation X. Kurt Loder's turning 80. My memory's starting to go. That's how it is. It's not just gray hair is just an indication of that, right? All right. Well, thank you so much for being a part of things today. And I'm looking forward to all of us having a very successful and profitable Tuesday. And I will see you back here again tomorrow morning. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you then.